What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and to another Overwatch League news video. And today we're covering the Vancouver Titans as we have Shredlock announcing his retirement. I personally was not really anticipating anything like this happening. I thought Shredlock was content being in the league, even if it was on the Titans who aren't that good, but I guess I was wrong. It kind of seemed like a match made in heaven, you know? He gets to stay in the league for another year. He's from Canada, so he's not going anywhere too far, but no. His time in the league is over just like that. And it's really sad to see his career kind of turn out this way. I don't think anyone wants to just join a random team and then not really do anything special at all. It sucks not being able to win. I mean, he still got to play in the Overwatch League stage and get paid an Overwatch League contract, but I'm sure it would have felt a little bit better if the Titans performed a bit better during his time on that team. His career was by no means anything out of the ordinary, but he worked very hard, going all the way back to his second win days, where he showed a lot of dedication, I think. I didn't get to watch him a ton back during his Contenders days, but from what I did see, he seemed like a guy that was very willing to learn and just do whatever his team needed him to do to win. He picked up a ton of different heroes throughout his career. But if he's ready to move on, well, he's ready to move on. That's it. I can't really blame him if he wants to stop. There's no point in doing something you don't really enjoy anymore. He gave the game everything he had, and it paid off. He got to the Overwatch League. Again, he didn't really accomplish much at that level, but he still made it there. That's something that only a very small percentage of pros have been able to achieve in their lifetime, so that's something to be proud of. But why did Shredlock decide to retire, you may be asking? Well, he kept it brief and to the point on a twit longer, didn't really get into too many details, but basically he said that he's just going to kind of explore Vancouver for the next few months, try and accomplish a few other goals on his mind, and then return to school. So that's a good plan. I'm glad to see him pursuing an education again. That's a great thing. Whatever comes next for him in life, whatever he decides to pursue, I wish him nothing but the best of luck. But now let's talk about the Titans and what this means for them. Well, I didn't know until recently, but rumors have been swirling around that the Titans want to get Changsik, who is the former main tank of Fusion University, and he used to be on Kongdu Panthera, and he played in Apex back in the day. He is a very experienced veteran, but he also has not played on a team in a few years, I believe. From what I can remember, he took a break from pro play back in 2019, but recently he posted eye emojis on his Twitter, and then multiple leakers have come out and said that the Titans have reached a deal with him, and that just goes to show that maybe a break is what he needed to get back on top of his game. Perhaps he's better than he ever has been before. One report said that he supposedly beat out multiple Western main tanks to get this spot. But again, because these are just leaks and nothing is finalized yet, or official for that matter, take everything you hear with a grain of salt. But if this ends up being the case, perhaps the Titans got an upgrade. No offense to Shredlock, but I mean, he's pretty replaceable. Let's call it how it is. At his peak, he's probably like a C+ tier player at the Overwatch League level, and that's if everything goes right for him, in my opinion. Maybe I'm disrespecting him there, but still, I don't think too highly of him based off of what we have seen. But Changsik, I mean, he was part of Fusion University. He was the main tank on that roster through a few of their first place finishes, I believe, at least during that one where they beat the Atlanta Academy, and then he was there with them when they went to Korean Contenders to face Runaway. He knows what he's doing. He's been around the block quite a few times. And as a bonus, Changsik, as we were just talking about, played for Fusion University, which means that he does have some experience playing with an English-speaking roster already, so right from day one he could be a decent fit because his English has to at least be decent, you would imagine. It is my hope that him and Fried Wiener could become a nice 1-2 punch as a tank duo, because in my opinion, so far at least from the 4 matches we have seen from the Titans, Fried Wiener has been the best player. So if Changsik can also play well, they could become a pretty decent tank duo and maybe help the Titans be a little bit more competitive in their games moving forward. But because it has been a while since we've seen Changsik, I'm very, very curious to see how he adapts to the new times, you know? Playing a bunch of Wrecking Ball potentially, and playing more Orisa most likely. I'd like to see how he takes on this challenge, since I'm pretty sure he was more known for like Reinhardt and Winston during his time. Hopefully he can help the Titans at least trend a tiny bit more in the correct direction moving forward, but ultimately the Titans do need a lot more help than just at main tank. This is not going to be a monumental change that potentially completely alters their future. That's not going to happen. They need more help than that, and they probably won't be getting any of it, so don't expect any huge changes if you're a Titans fan, but this is something to still look forward to, I think. Any upgrades at all, or any potential upgrades I should say, are better than none. Progress is progress. If he can be a decent piece and show promise during the rest of of the year, then perhaps you hold on to him, make some more changes heading into Season 5, and then you have a better team who can maybe be a bit more competitive moving forward. On a side note, I find it very interesting that the Titans are interested and more willing to get Korean talent again. It seemed like they just wanted to go towards the Western contenders type of direction, but then they got Teru during the offseason. Now they're getting Chainsik, a former Korean contenders veteran and somebody who played in Apex. So maybe during the future seasons, the Titans will become even more mixed or perhaps full Korean again. Let me know what you think of that down in the comment section. Do you think the Titans might go back on their word and go full Korean again someday? Or do you think they might take more of a mixed approach, kind of like the Gladiators or the Outlaws, for example, where they're like part Western, then part Korean? Depending on how Chainsik does, that may end up dictating what direction the Titans go in moving forward, so keep an eye on him. Let us see what he can bring to the table to this team who desperately wants to get a victory. But that's basically everything I have to say about the Shredlock situation and what could be happening with the Titans moving forward. Expect an announcement on who their new main tank is very soon because they literally do play this weekend, so it's only a matter of time until we get something. Now, before we end the video, I just wanted to do a bit of news cleanup, if you will, because there were a few things that I kind of missed out on over the weekend because I was getting my second COVID vaccine, then the next day I didn't really feel too good and games were on and everything, so I thought I'd catch up just for those of you who kind of just depend on me to get the news. So for one, if you didn't know, Erster retired from the Overwatch League. I wish we could have more of an emotional ending to his career just because back in Season 2 he was such a fantastic player, but, you know, he hasn't really played much these last few years, so it doesn't really feel the same. He's just not the same guy anymore. In Season 3, the Reign mostly only utilized him for like Mei and Genji, didn't even play him on Tracer just because they had Edison and everything, and they misused him in some other ways, probably didn't get treated all that well, you'd have to imagine too. And then in Season 4 on the Dragons, there wasn't really much of a chance for him, I feel like. I mean, there were some situations where I could see him playing, but Fleta is just such an amazing player, arguably the best flex DPS in the game, so it would have been tough to play over him. He was in a not-so-great situation on Atlanta in particular, in my opinion, and I think that Shanghai this year, he probably was kind of lacking motivation. I'm sure that retirement has kind of been on his mind for a while now. He gave it a shot, but it's just not for him anymore, so yeah. But I mean, besides not really having the motivation to play the game anymore, I'm sure him just not playing as well as he'd expect himself to also had to do with it. Again, the Reign didn't want to play him. I'm sure there are a bunch of different reasons why, but I'm sure part of it has to do with him not really performing up to expectations, you know? That is legitimately a possibility. All of it is a damn shame at the end of the day, though, because Erster in Season 2 at his peak was an incredible talent, both on the Brigitte during GOATS and then flexing onto all sorts of different things during Stage 4 and in the playoffs like on Doomfist, Hanzo, Genji, and like Pharah and stuff. Absolutely incredible to watch. He was such a menace. I mean, he was part of that memorable Stage 4 Atlanta Reign team that went 7-0 during their games, and then they beat the San Francisco Shock in that crazy upset that won a bunch of maps, and he was a big reason why it happened to begin with. As somebody who liked Erster pretty much right from the start of his career on the Atlanta Reign, it really sucks to see his career kind of go downward so fast after such a successful rookie campaign. I wish we could have seen him on the stage one more time as like a legit starter, but hey, it wasn't meant to be. Stuff like this happens in life all the time. Good luck to Erster. I don't know what he plans to do next, but I really do hope that he finds success in whatever comes next. And finally, we have some cool Fusion news to talk about. For one, EQO has officially gotten his visa, so I believe he is on his way to Korea and he has to go through quarantine and whatnot, but he's going to be with the team finally after all of this time. That's wonderful. The Fusion technically have another option at DPS now. It's not like they really need him just because Rascal has been so great, but you never know. EQO might be more useful in a certain situation. In other Philly Fusion news, Shockwave, Poco, and Funny Astro all still are stuck in Europe and they're having visa issues and travel issues and whatnot. But the good news is the Fusion are going to be taking good care of them and they're going to let them play because they're probably really bored just sitting there and not being able to be a part of the team in Korea. I'm pretty excited about this, and I know a lot of you Contenders fans are excited about this too, but the Fusion have revived the Fusion University Academy team and they're going to be placing them in European Contenders. That way Shockwave, Funny Astro, and Poco can all keep their skills sharp. In my opinion, this is a great move by the Fusion, and it makes their organization look really good as a result. They very well could have just had Poco, Shockwave, and Astro sit on the bench and rot because they can't get to Korea, but they decided to be nice and give them a chance to play. Granted, it's only in contenders, but still, it gives them something to do. And I mean, come on, reviving the Fusion University brand, that's also a fantastic thing to do. They're one of the most popular contenders teams out there back during their prime, so you might as well bring them back. And a lot of people are going to want to root for them because you have Astro and Poco and Shockwave on that team. This is an all-around good decision made by the Fusion, no matter how you think about it. They're expanding upon their branding, they're giving their fans more of an opportunity to root for their franchise and their players, and to top it all off, now you are looking really good in the eyes of the public, like even better than you already were potentially. Good stuff from Philly. This gets 2 thumbs up from me. It'll be exciting to watch those boys and the rest of the Fusion University roster take on the European Contenders trials. I'm sure they're going to absolutely kill it. And with that said, that basically wraps up everything I wanted to cover in this video. So if you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you want to keep up with all things Overwatch League news related, and let me know what you think about Shredlock as well as the Fusion thing down in the comment section. And until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.